G'day YouTube, my name's Lance. Welcome to Bundy Bear's Shed. Well, the weather report. Look, the mornings are 10, 11 at the moment. They're not too bad. Through the day, 17 to 20. A little sort of more around the 20-ish, 21 in there somewhere. So lovely weather. Lovely weather for puttering around and potting about and doing stuff. I don't know how you're surviving up in the Northern Hemisphere with that heat wave. Hope I've got a couple of viewers left and you haven't all just melted away. But but look, when you're finished with that weather, feel free to send it back down. We don't mind it. We wouldn't mind our weather back when you're done, thanks. So we'll see how you go. And I can imagine a few of you can have the bloody stuff. Send that back to those silly Aussie bastards down there, buddy. We don't want it. And so, obviously you're coming into winter shortly. Oh, well, in a few months' time, and we're coming into summer. And my mum used to always say that whatever happened in the Northern Hemisphere with a heat wave, she said, you see, whatever happens in the Northern Hemisphere seems to happen in the Southern Hemisphere the next season. I have no idea if that works or not. Time will tell, I suppose. I'll be whinging if it's too hot to do any work, don't worry. I wouldn't miss out on a good grizzle, so we'll have to have a look at that. You can see, you can see that. Most of the weekend I've been working on this bloody thing. And this isn't for the Ferguson glow plugs. It's for a video I'm doing on the international glow plugs like B250, 275, 414, 4434, all those fellas. Now, the reason I'm actually doing this is that it seems to be very misunderstood, and I've been sort of planning on doing it for ages, but sometimes you need a bit of a kick in the bum to get you going. And what happened recently was there's a few field mechanics in town, and there's two young blokes, separate young blokes started, and we all had to learn, I suppose, but I'm not sure they're 100% on their game. They've given themselves a couple of problems, but they bolt into the shop and it's all of a sudden our problem. So a problem shared, eh? Yeah, just get rid of it. But one bloke, he's left bad Google reviews on us and Bearco, and what happened is we sold him a clutch kit. He went and fitted it to the customer's tractor, and I got a feeling the throwout might have been put on the wrong way. I did that one time as a young bloke myself, and as soon as you started it, you heard it and you think, God, that's not right. So as you know, when I split a tractor, I put it together and I wait. I check the pedal and all that with two bolts in, so if I've ever got to pop it apart and check. And anyway, I thought something wasn't right, popped it apart, and I must have been talking to the customer or some bloody thing, and I had the throwout sitting on backwards, so pulled it off, put him around the right way, job done. Felt a bit of a goose, way we went. So what's happened is this young fella's fitted a clutch in a tractor, and he reckons that the throwout bearing is seized and it's worn the new fingers out like within a week, 2 weeks. And we're saying, well, it's probably highly unlikely. Did you adjust the free travel and all? And whenever you suggest anything at the counter, everyone's done everything, which you don't know if they have or they haven't. Perhaps they have. So we said, well, bring the clutch back in, pull it out, bring it back in. We talked to Bearco, and Bearco said, that's pretty odd that a bearing would fail, because he's saying that the throwout bearing seized, within 10 days, fortnight, or a week or two, whatever it was, a short term. And so it was a Bearco clutch, and Bearco said, look, it's sort of unheard of. Send the bearing and the clutch down to us. We'll get the engineers to have a look, and if it's warranty, there's no problem at all. And in all honesty, with Bearco, even if there's a shadow of a doubt sometimes, they are good with their warranty. They will say, yep, no worries. Look, we think it's this and that, but here, look, as a gesture of goodwill, will supply one, and they do that. And sometimes if one of the suppliers doesn't want to cover a warranty, we do that ourselves sometimes. I think, look, I don't think their decision's correct, so we will cover it. Pardon me. So anyway, so the deal was that he could pull the clutch out, bring it back, we'd pop it down to Sydney to Ingleburn to the head office, the techs, the forensic blokes will have a look and go from there. But no, he says, no, bullshit, we're not pulling it out, we want to use the tractor. And I said, well, what have you done? No, well, I haven't been talking to Ross, but he said, oh, we've just welded the fingers up and away we go, it's good as gold. Put a new bearing in and away they go, and good as gold. So we said, well, to get warranty, you've got to bring the clutch back in. There's a 12-month warranty on all that stuff, but you've got to bring it in. You can't just say, that clutch you sold me is rooted, get me a new one, I'm not paying for it. And because what happens is they put the new one in, you never see the warranty one ever. And so yeah, he's left bad reviews on us, and Bearco, but you've got to work with us, and that's just how it is. But young blokes in business, and I think once it gets to a stage where it's going to cost them $1, they get a bit frightened about that. But anyway, or embarrassed or something. I don't know how it works, but I've made mistakes over the time, and I'm about to tell you about one. But but anyway, and then the other fella that brought this job to fruition is those glow plugs. Now, glow plugs in a car are in parallel. So you have one common beam with the power, and they all just go to find their own little road to earth. So if you have one blown glow plug, the other ones will work. In the international system here, they're in series. So it comes from the battery, through the pepper pot, into the top of the first one, down, out the bottom. And so I've got a little diagram here. So the power comes in, comes down, but these two are separated. So it's a continuous wire there. Then that one goes to the next one, to the next one. And so if at any stage there's a break, or one of these little fellas here has popped or something like that, the whole show won't work. It's just all over Red Rover. So so the front of here, the bolt goes to the water pump, and it earths out through the water pump. So you start with 12 volts here, you test it here, you've got about 9, 5, and as you go down, the resistance reduces the voltage, but all these fellas glow. So I think if I just have a bit of a fiddle here just to show you. So the pepper pot's glowing. That's glowing a bit sooner than I'd like. I think the resistance isn't 100% right, but now you can see all these ones glowing. And so that's enough. That's enough to get your engine going. But if any one of those items is faulty, you get nothing. It's all over. So, but anyway, I'm doing a video on that. And this one here, this bloke returned them. Another young bloke, a different fella, and he returned them and said, those glow plugs you sold me are faulty. He says, I put them in and they popped. One popped and one's not crimped properly, and a bit of a kick up. And we thought, okay, and we sell a lot of these, and these are Bearco brand, and this one here is actually one he returned. It's glowing like a beauty, and this is one he returned that he said he's tested that with a multimeter. His auto Alecki has tested it with a multimeter. It's not working. It's not crimped properly or something. But look at it; it's going like a beauty. So the other thing with these glow plugs is because the aftermarket ones might be a slight different shape to the old ones, and these engines are getting old now, and in the combustion chamber where you screw the glow plug in, it gets a build-up of carbon. The whole place is blowing up. You get a build-up of carbon in there. So what happens is you can undo the old glow plug out, get it out of the way, but because it's sitting here and it's turning, it can loosen up a bit of carbon in the combustion chamber. And so you pull it out, you bang the next one in, and because these are in series, instead of earthing out through there, this goes straight to earth here. So the full voltage goes through straight to earth, and you blow the arse out of them. So we're going to do up a little brochure to send out with our glow plugs to tell people to get a drill just by hand or an O-ring pick or something, get something up in there and scratch the carbon, make sure there's no carbon up in there, because I've done it. You can pull one out, just bang one in quickly, pop, you have a look and you think, oh bloody, and you won't believe some of the shit comes out of them. So he returned one that had the arse blown out of it, clean out of it, and that's obviously the one that shorted out. So he returned the full set. He said, look, that one there blew straight away. It's a faulty one. This one here, they've tested it and it wasn't working, and the other two were fine. Well, turns out the other two were fine. The one that they tested, him and his auto electric, it's fine. And the one that it blew the arse out of, it's had to have gone to earth, and shorted out on the carbon. So, and what they forget, these young fellas, is I'm an old bloke and I've made just about every mistake in the book, and I sort of know how it works a lot of times. So anyway, I'm doing a video explaining how they're wired and all that. But I mean, yeah, just to cover bases more or less, and then I'm going to try and do a little instruction on fitting them that we can supply with them. Now, the Bearco, where are we, Lance? So here's the Bearco number is B3353. I don't know why we're using Bearco. Sometimes it's a price thing, sometimes it's not. So in the Bearco, come out of there we go. So in the Bearco glow plugs that comes with the glow plugs, there's a little sheet that they put in with them. It looks like none of these sheets have been pulled out of the boxes. Pre-combustion chamber is important. Prior to fitting a new glow plugs, when reinstalling pre-combustion chambers, use new gaskets, be sure glow plug bores are aligned, all models. The necessity for cleaning the pre-combustion chambers is usually indicated by excessive smoking or when fuel economy drops. To remove pre-combustion chambers, first remove injector nozzles, remove glow plug wires, but I don't do that. So it doesn't actually say about, it says about pre-combustion chambers but not tidying them up. But if you have a look at this here, that's a blown, that's the one the fella said blew straight away, it's just shit. But that's earthing out. So what I'm doing is, this one's one he returned. These three are brand new ones. I'm going to set it up so I can run an earth lead to there. We're going to hit it up and bang, we're going to blow some up. And it's going to cost me a few $100. Oh, well, yeah, a few $100. But we'll get the video done, and hopefully we get a return from not having glow plugs returned, and see how we go, eh? Yeah. Now, remember me just saying that I made every stuff up in the book? Well, I made one last week regarding the washer. Now, that bloody washer, I must be getting Alzheimer's or some bloody thing. Something's going on. Need more beer and bickies, I think, something like that. But as you know, oh shit, that book's shut. As you know, last week and the week before, I've been looking for this bloody washer that goes on the crankshaft now of the 65. Now, this is the proper Perkins book, and you can see you have the nut, the pulley, the washer. That's the washer there, the gear, and away you go. So I've been using this Perkins workshop manual. I've been using that manual to do this engine up all the way. And look, the reason I've done that is Massey Ferguson make the tractor, Perkins make the engine. So I thought, well, if you're going to use the manufacturer's book manual, I'm just looking for the page I opened in the Massey Ferguson parts book. If you're going to use the manual, why not use the one that made the engine? Like Massey Ferguson know how to make tractors, hydraulics. They don't even make their own clutches. Laycock, or they make the clutches for them. Perkins make the engine, so I thought, right, we'll use that. So after me having a grizzle last week, James Brown, he's been a long-term follower, he messaged me and he said, "Oh, are you sure you had your washer there?" And this is the sad part. I feel I've had it in me bloody hand. And anyway, I was going back to look at the video, but he beat me to it. He said, go back to video 20 in the series at about 13 minutes in, when I'm undoing that front thing. He said, there wasn't a washer there. And I thought, oh, bloke's going bloody dotty. So I went back and watched the video. There wasn't a washer there. So, I mean, yeah, I can still to this day, I reckon I had it. And I've got the Perkins book there, and it's got the washer there. So I thought, God, what's going on? Bloke going bloody stupid. But the workshop needed a clean up anyway. And so I looked up AgCo online. You know, we hooked on the local Massey Ferguson agent, Sings. They let us in. You can apply to hop into the AgCo parts site, but you must go in through your local dealer. So if you're in England, Canada, Denmark, wherever, there's AgCo parts book, and you can go in there, but you must register with one of your local dealers. So, and look, they're more than happy to bring you in, because if you can look up a part, print out a sheet, walk into the dealership and say, I'd like that part, that part, that part, and they haven't got to look it all up and bug around, well, they're tickled, they're very happy. So anyway, I jumped into AgCo parts site on the 65 with the AD203 engine. It doesn't show the washer. So I have a parts book here. This is a genuine Massey Ferguson parts book, 765. Yeah, same as the 65. And can you see that? Yep. There's the bloody pulley. There's the gear. No washer. So bloke's going bloody stupid. If you asked me missus, she would have told you years ago. But anyway, so the bottom end of the engine's going together. Once I filmed this and bug around, this took me all day, because I had to drill out and then buy a 16.5mm drill, which I didn't have, but so I had to go to town and buy one. Then they'd run out, so I had to have a 21/64 or something, right, bloody drill. And so, yeah, by the time I got all this and made the bracket for the pepper pot, and there's a whole, well, there'll be a little video on that coming up. So I haven't done anything on the 65 engine since last week. Jude loves the 148, and I think I might have lost that tractor. And she just likes it. She says, oh, it's a diesel, you haven't got to worry about flooding it and all that, and you just push the stopper in, put the little lever in S and hit the key, and away you go. So I took the slasher off the back of the 148, and I bought an old carryall, you know, my neighbour Grumpy Dave, you'll know about, and he built a carryall years ago, and he was setting it up as a display when he was displaying tractors, but he dropped the plot. And anyway, one day he's whinging and bugging around, you need to buy that bloody carryall off me. And I said, sometimes I just buy stuff off him just to do it, you know, help him out. And anyway, he had the carryall there, and he says, $50. You can have the bloody thing. And I said, all right, so here's $50. I whizzed over on the forklift and picked it up. And anyway, it's worked out to be a handy thing. I will take you for a walk shortly and show you. But yeah, so Jude's I've got that on the back of the 148, and Jude's going through a stage up in the house yard that she's pruning every bloody thing. And she's got me little sawzall and she's fucking going nuts. So she's had two big carryalls full. And Dave used to have some legs sitting down the bottom of the carryall, and I've turned them upside down for hungry boards so she can pile it with leaves and they don't fall off the back. So those who watch, who follow me on Facebook, they'll see on the weekend Judy was driving the tractor and young Arrow was up steering, and then his big sister Airy, well, she wasn't missing out, so next load she had to drive. And so Jude can have the 148. That's fine. If she's happy to bug around with an old tractor, well, I've got nothing else to do with it really. We had some rain through the week and the paddock's very wet, so she's got to watch where she goes, but that's about it. But but when Jude and Arrow got up here and went to start the tractor, because they pulled up near the fire heap, and I said, why don't you just back in, might be easier, so the tractor wouldn't start. And Jude says, oh, that'll be right, I broke the bloody tractor. And look, it was just lucky. Like, I've slashed the paddock 2 weekends and buggered around with this tractor, and what had happened is, whoever wired it up in the past, the manifold heater's still slopping around. I haven't done that, but my Sparex order came in last week, so there may be something happening with it. And where the main wire from the ammeter to the start switch, they had that and the glow plug wire sort of half twitched together, and they'd rub through. And so whenever that was hooked up, I pulled the battery box cover off, and the smoke coming out, and I knew shit. And I thought, what the bloody hell? And just these 2 wires had rubbed together. So that's just how it goes with things. So I've fixed that. I've disconnected the glow plug. I do have a new glow plug to go in there now. I have a new air cleaner hose. It rained last week, and I had nowhere in here for it, and I didn't have the gear stick boots, and I reckon I've got a little bit of water in the tranny, so I'm going to park it out in front of the shed here. I've got the gear stick boots on now. Park it out in front of the shed here, and I'm going to drain the bottom off the gearbox and that, and just see what it's like. I'm happy to put new oil in, but just for putting around up and back, it'll be okay. The hydraulics on it, they sort of lift, but when you put a load, they drop to about so far, and I've fiddled with with position and draft, see if I could get it to work any different. But and the top cover's been set up, and the pump looks like it's been done, but I don't think they've got the setup right, so we might visit that one day. As long as it can cart the carryall so far off the ground for Jude with all her branches and all that, well, that's all we're going to worry about for the time being. So see how we go. I've been doing carbies after work. I've got Roberts going home today, and I've got another one here. My little mate Ronnie from work, the fella at the counter, he's bringing a carbie in for next week, and I have another fella got onto me on the weekend. He's sending another one, so we'll see how we go. After work, I clean my bench and I just sit here doing carbies, and one I did for Robert that was just going home today. I had to machine out where the main jet goes in the bottom and helicoil the threads, but you can't put a helicoil in because the path from the float chamber down to the main jet where it gets its fuel from, the helicoil will block that up. So you've got to get a helicoil, cut it about 5 threads deep, feed that in, get that in, and then chop another helicoil about similar and feed that in, then break the tabs off. And oh man, I spent I charge $150 labour for a carbie, and that doesn't matter whether I get it done in an hour or bloody 3 or 4 hours. Well, this carbie, I spent every afternoon last week on it, trying to get it right, and I'd get something happening and it just shit wouldn't line up. And the body of the carbie has been bumped over the years with the needle and seat sticking or leaking, I suppose. And the floater would stick now and then, so I've taken that out a little bit. You just don't want to play with that muck metal too much. But anyway, we've sent it home today. I put it on the TEA. There was that much work in it, I just thought, oh, I've got to try that. So I've pulled the carby off the TEA. I put it on, set it up, got it tuned to the TEA, without the air cleaner though. And then I sat it there for 4 hours to make sure the needle and seat didn't leak, and it tested fine, so I've sent it home. The other thing I've been doing, and if we look over here, oh, I haven't got all the parts to show you, but there will be a video coming up. Okay, so this is a aftermarket needle and seat out of a Zenith Carby, and they're a sealed unit, and people say, oh, those new bloody ones leak and they're not as good as the old ones, and all that sort of thing. So as you know, I'm a serial fiddler. This is a genuine one. So it just got the better of me. I thought, oh, I'm going to have a bloody good look at this. So I may do a little clip on this, and I thought, well, they got those bloody things together, let's pull some apart. So, so I've got some new needles and seats. I've gone through about 5 of them checking, and I've pulled them apart. Now, how do you pull them apart? So what happens is, when you look at the bottom of the needle and seat there, you can see there's a distinct line where there's a section there. Now, what that is, that's actually the bottom of the seat. That's the seat, a brass seat. So what you can do is actually, on this cap here, you can put a punch on there, you can actually punch that out. It will come out. So you can punch that out, and I thought, well, I'm just going to knock some original ones apart, knock the aftermarket ones apart, see what the difference is. Well, look, there isn't any. There is absolutely no difference. I've had the needles here somewhere. And look, both of them, aftermarket and genuine, are made exactly the same. They both have a little brass seat like that, exactly the same. The needle with the taper that sits onto the brass, exactly the same. So what goes on with people saying they fit new ones and the new ones are shit and they don't last like the old ones and things like that. So the ones I've tested, and I've even got brand new carby kits and opened them up, and I've got like a pile of them here. I've opened them up, and where the washer goes, now there's a thick washer under the needle and seat, and it should be the 2mm one on the tractors. And people often put the smaller one, and so all of a sudden you've increased your float height 1 millimetre or so, which is 40 thou. That may be enough to make them flood. But what I'm checking on, and I found a variance of, oh look, probably 0.5 millimetre. And so from where this needle, say cartridge for want of a better word, bolts down to the top of the needle here, and keep in mind that it sits up like that, to the top of the needle, I found about 0.5 millimetre difference in them. So I don't know. All I can think of is people are getting a little bit of shit in there. I just don't know why they would be any different. The needles are the same. The angle looks fine. I've got my magnifying glass on the seat on the aftermarket ones, and the original one, well, the original one's used, and they don't seem to wear too much. Yeah, so I don't know. I think a little bit of shit coming through a carby or a dented float is probably more to what's going on. But look, I might just do a little clip on that, and where I can get in close up with the camera and show you the difference. But I'm going to get a piece of aluminium like this, probably this piece, and I mean, I'll identify this thread and I'll screw them in, and I might make a little height gauge or something like that I can just sit down and I can check what height, and so I can pass the information on. But yeah, look, you can knock these apart. Some of them, they've been assembled, the height has been set, and if you want to, if you've got one and you'd like to lower your float height a little bit, I'll give it a try, and you can put a punch on the end there and you can tap that in a little bit, so you can adjust your float height slightly. So look, it's worth a look. It's just something I'm working on. It's upcoming. Yeah, I spent a lot of time fiddling with that on the weekend too. So yeah, I've just been fiddling, and so it's just interesting to work out that, like I never realised that you could knock these needles and seats apart. I'd never bothered looking, and then the penny dropped the other day, and I thought, right, let's do that. So I've got a Ford 2000 3-cylinder petrol sitting outside my shed. My mate Biddy, Ian Bidgood, he found it, and it's got a Holly carby on it that I did up for Ian. Look, it was a few years ago, and he's never got the tractor going, and he asked me the other day, he said, can I drop that tractor around and get the bloody thing running for me? So apparently they're a common thing in America. I had to buy the parts, you know, the tune-up kit and all the stuff out of Steiner in America. The parts aren't here yet, but I just thought I'd go handheld, and I'll show you, take you for a little walk around, and I'll show you the carry-all on Grumpy Dave's tractor as well. Oh well, Grumpy Dave's carry-all on my tractor, Judy's tractor. We're not sure. All right, hang tight, we'll go for a walk. Well, look at this beautiful day in Queensland. You can see I've slashed the paddock recently. The sun's just coming through. The sun's in the wrong spot for filming just at the moment, but the paddock's looking good. I've got a heap here where I burn you know, the pallets from work and things like that. So that's where Judy's been bringing the prunings and all that up. So we've been working with that. So here's the carry-all. It's quite a big carry-all. I'll try and stay out of the frame. It's quite a big carry-all, and the piece of mesh there, I had that laying around, so I put that there so twigs and that weren't getting dropped on the driveway. And where Dave used to have legs, what he did was he made these legs, and instead of coming up for hungry boards like I've got them, they went the other way. And the idea was that he could go to a vintage machinery show with this on his tractor. I think he had a grain grinder and a little Ronson Tippett engine or something on it. But his plan originally was to run a belt pulley on a 35 and have the belt pulley across the middle section here, across there, and then he could run a few implements on the carry-all. Oh man! And so as time went, he didn't bother with it. But the idea was that he could go to the show, he could lift that right up, put the legs down, and yeah, have his display sitting there, and either run it with a tractor and a belt pulley, or run it with another little stationary engine. So, but as time went by, he chose not to do that. So yes, you can see he had other lugs there for sitting it up off the ground. So probably for a little display it was a good thing. Yeah, not too bad. I've got the gear stick boots on, and I'll see that air cleaner. By all accounts, that's the correct shaped air cleaner for a 148, late 135 148. Now inside the dash here, there's a brown wire comes through, and you can just see a little rub patch just there. And that was rubbed through onto this wire here, You can see that rub mark there, which goes down to the dicky manifold heater, and that was earthing out, so I've got that all disconnected now, so it can't earth out. And quality tractor parts actually make an alternator harness for these tractors. I'll just pop that in there. I'll pop the air cleaner on. Yeah, this did have a Donaldson, a Donaldson on it. Yeah, the glass bowl type Donaldson. That looks like it's twisted a bit. And but what happens with the Donaldson? Look, they're a better air cleaner for sure, a better pre-cleaner for sure. But what happens, and I may be able to show you the old one, is they get over tightened. That's the 3000. We're going to go for a little visit there shortly. But they get over tightened, and if your tractor has to sit out in the weather like mine does just at the moment, you can see the dent here, that just holds water. And these are a better air cleaner, but they get over tightened and that nut's just jammed. I can't quite get it off. And so they get over tightened, the water pools there, and you see a lot of these with rusty tops on them, and that's a way of putting rubbish or water, fluid, straight into your paper element. So yeah, so we're not having that. And oh, if I could just get it rained here last week, and we got another 57 millimetres of rain, and the holes out the back are full, so I don't know when that shed's ever going to get done. But anyway, that's what I'm waiting on. I want to put this old girl and the Johnny and all that in under cover, but at the moment I've run out of cover. Alright, this is me mate Biddy's Ford 2000. You can see I've got the bonnet off just to show you. It's a 2000. Now, I've got me pushy. If I need to go up the house for a loo, I just grab something. Instead of starting the ute, I jump on my treadly and off I go. I'll be fit as a fiddle one day. So, yeah, look, it's a lovely little tractor. It's pretty straight. You notice the Ford rims have the holes in them here for the weights and that. And so that's how you can tell Ford from Massey sometimes. This one, it's a later tractor, got a paper element, air cleaner. Yeah, I know we got it cheap, this tractor. But anyway, I'm just going to get it going for him. That's the Holly Carby I did up for him ages ago. And the distributor hides in under here, and that's where the spark plugs are, across the top. So in Australia, this would be quite a rare little tractor. And so another interesting thing on this tractor, I've never worked on one before that I'm aware of, is way down in there, there's a fuel lift pump. Now it's been disconnected on this tractor, I don't know why. Must run off the timing gears there somewhere. I don't know why it's been disconnected, but I have a new one coming. You know, we want, if I got my name on it, it's going to run. There's this breather here, a chrome breather. Now I've got no idea what that is. I'm sure it shouldn't be there. It probably needs a breather, but just what sort of breather, who knows. But yeah, it has a paper element air cleaner, and normally this little clamp sits across the top, and that's all you see from the bonnet. But yeah, look, it's a nice little tractor. It hasn't got a grill in it. Well, he hasn't asked me to find a grill yet, but I suppose he will. The pre-cleaner there is just a little, same as the 148 type pre-cleaner. Yeah, little 3-cylinder petrol. I think someone's put an alternator on it where it wouldn't have had an alternator. There's a bracket up here, and you can see a bit of buggering around down there, but that's fine. We're going to leave that like it is. The wiring, I've got all that out at the moment, just chasing wires. The safety start's been disconnected. I'll have a yarn to him, that was the switch that I found floating around in under the dash there, and and he gave me these that come with it, like fuel bowls and taps with bits of hoses and clamps, and so it's a bit of a wild old show. But yeah, look, all in all, it's a nice little tractor, just something different. Probably, in the next week or so, I imagine I'll have parts. The distributor is just in here, and the coil. That coil looks, you'd think on full axle tilt this track rod would nearly hit it. I don't know. Perhaps it will, perhaps it won't. The starter's not a typical Ford one. It looks like a Bendix type setup. That's a bit different. But yeah, look, all in all, that's not a bad little tractor. It's a tidy little tractor. It'll be a good tractor for someone's collection. Oh, well, Biddy's collection. I don't know how many tractors Biddy's got. He's got a lot. And I think this mudguard here is a bit dinted, but the one over there is pretty good. I noticed the pin, PDO seal's leaking, but I noticed the pin here is on the way out. I might give that a bit of a bump and see if it'll move. But yeah, the guard, that's a Dicky guard. It needs a new seat. And the levelling box has had some work. But yeah, I've got no idea what he paid for it, and I've done no idea where he got it. None of my business. But just as a point of interest, it's a good little tractor, isn't it? I think it'll be nice. When I get it going, I'll get the camera and we'll hear it running and see how it goes. I think under here we should have panels under here hiding all your throttle disc and all that sort of thing. So, but anyway, that's just something of interest. And yeah, there's Jude's 148. While we're going past here on our way back to the shed, my Sparex order for the 148 came in. So I'm still waiting on a couple of bits, but we've got like new emblems for when we paint it, steering wheels, front wheel bearing kits because it needs it, half shaft repair kits because the axles are leaking onto the brakes. We've got new brake shoes, lights, filters, steering wheel. So yeah, so it won't be too long and we'll be just doing little jobs on it. It's a tractor I want to keep going, so it'll be, I've got to put all these away and get them in proper place today. So yeah, it's we're even getting right down to side marker lights and things like that. So it will get a nice paint job and done up when I can put it in out of the weather, but not a full restoration. Well, there you go. That's a bit of what's been going on in Bundy Bear's shed. I went to Trade Tools the other day, and a lot of my pin punches are getting old and buggered and bashed around, so I found a nice little pin punch set. 1/8, 3/16, quarter, 5/16 and 3/8. And I also bought, they had a little set of little short ones. So I'll find a drawer and put them in now. These are the things you use on little carbies and little bits and pieces mainly. So I bought them. I also bought some spring pin ones. Now the spring pin punch is the same as a long pin punch, but you will see the little ball in the end there. There. See a little ball in the end there, and that's so it sits down in the centre of the roll pin or spring pin, and when you're punching it holds it true so you're not going all over the shop. So I bought that too, because yeah, I was doing stuff and I've had pin punches and I'm grinding the ends, I'm buggering around because I just didn't have what I wanted. But like those sets are like $23 each and $25 and things like that. You can see here, spray adhesive, that's like our Bear glue for doing the gaskets on the 65 and things like that. brake cleaner, NF, non-flammable. I'm yet to try that. I haven't played with that yet. Carby clean. 556, that's equivalent to a WD-40 product. Multi-purpose, the tool kit in a can, silicon free. Now silicon free is important as if you're putting it anywhere near paintwork and you want to sand something back and paint it later on, silicon free becomes important. We've got Prep It, high build sanding metal primer, made in New Zealand. Trefolex. So Trefolex, that's a cutting compound for threading and things like that. The red zinc, and part of this whole deal with CRC, CRC want to support the channel, and Queensland Tractor Spares has taken on CRC as a range of products that we use. I approached them because we had a gap in the showroom there, and we were missing out on sales, and I thought, well, we could help with this. We even have a primer. So some of the primers and that I've been buying, I've just been whizzing into Bunnings, paying $20 a tin to get something a bit reasonable, and we can sell that for cheaper, and to buy it through CRC for the shop at cost, it makes expenses way more favourable. So what else have I got? Oh, 336. 336, if you have a drill, mill, lathe, anything like that, when you clean it down, instead of putting a WD product on, you put this stuff on. Now, and there's a red lithium grease. Put this stuff on. Now, A-Bomb79, go and look at A-Bomb79's channel. He's way up there in the YouTube world, and I see him the other day, and when he cleans his mill and things like that, he uses this stuff. He swears by it. So it's a heavy duty penetrant, protects aluminium doors, handles, lubricates, locks and rollers, prevents cement and plaster residue sticking on metals, glass and ceramic fittings. So that, it's sort of, in some ways it's similar to this, but this will hang around longer, where some of these penetrants, they'll flash off and dry. So these are all out of my stock. I bought them, but CRC is going to supply Bundy Bear Shed with a bit of stuff. We've been working on this for a couple of months now, and so they're coming on board. They'll get a sign in here and a little bit of a thing on the front of all the videos as a supporter. They're coming up with a care package. They said, what do I use? And I said, oh, that a vapor rust and all that. That is just great. Don't discount how good that a vapor rust is. It's just good gear. Once again, A-Bomb79, watch some of his stuff where he cleans up things he finds at the flea markets and the car boot sales and things. So it is good gear. I rate it. I use it here. I have a little pot. I just have a little pot with it in at the moment, and that's a spanner that I'd lost a spanner. I didn't know where it was, and the other day I was walking down the paddock, and bugger me, here it was. So it's a product that you can. It doesn't harm your hands at all. I'll just wipe it off though. Gravity's still here. So yeah, look at some of the carb bodies for the farm hauls, and that where they're a cast iron carby body. I put them in that stuff, and it scrubs up like brand new. Yeah, don't underestimate it. You can tip it out into the drain and wherever you want it, or into the garden, and it's just got iron and that in it. So yeah, it's good gear. So we're going to be playing with a bit of that more. Do a couple of tests for them. But yeah, they're coming up this week, and they're bringing some stuff for Bundy Bear Shed, some product that they're giving us. just to support the channel. So I go through a shitload of brake cleaner. I go through some of that, and yeah, so we'll be using the CRC products from now on. Yeah, so it's good to have them aboard. It does help with the expense of the shop. Running Bundy Bear's shed, like Sparex, the help Sparex gives us is just incredible. Nothing's too much trouble for them. It's just great. LSA oils, they've given me a strict budget, so they help too. I've got a 44-gallon drum of arse end oil off them, and look, that helps tremendously as well. So all these little bits just help along. Oh, what I was going to tell you, this is for Plasma Dave's benefit. To go downtown and buy a drill to drill an 18 by 1.5, like I said, it should have been a 16.5mm drill. And anyway, some of the slasher bolts, different size blades and that, we buy in town from a business called The Bolt Place. And so while I was down there, I need a bloody drill. So they didn't have the 16.5mm drill that I wanted. They'd just sold out. And I thought, well, I might get a 16mm, but then we got the book out and worked out that a 2364 was a bit over 16.5. So I thought, oh, you know, I said, give me both of them. So anyway, so I got the drills and brought one home and did the job, and it worked fine. I got the threads cut and the glow plug screwed in and all that sort of thing. And the bill come, and I didn't worry about it. And well, I don't see the bill normally. And anyway, Mitch, one of our employees, comes in and he says, "What am I going to do with this bill, Lance?" And I said, "Oh, where's it from?" He says, "Oh, The Bolt Place." And I said, "Oh, I guess look at it." I had a look and I said, $54 per drill, and they were reduced shank drills. And I thought, holy shit, that's dear. And see, they've got new owners recently too. So yeah, the Phil and Julie that started The Bolt Place, I was sort of friends, and we used to get a good deal, no worries at all. But and I never checked prices that much from them, but there's a new mob there now, and I suppose it works on turnover. And by all accounts, our account would be a small one. And yeah, 48 and 52 or $54 or something for these drills. And I thought, bloody hell, $100 worth of drills. So it got the better of me. And so I trots into Trade Tools, and because I knew they had drills, but whether they had the reduced shank or all that, I had no idea. So I went and had a yarn, and same drills. They're both HSS. Look, the Bolt Place ones were Bordeaux brand. Yeah, Bordeaux, I think it is. And the Trade Tool ones are Renegade brand, their own brand. But they both look to be high-speed steel. They are HSS, but I suppose there's different qualities and all that. And yeah, 18 and $24 each drill or something like that. So for one job, like, that's what we spend for Bundy Bear's shed. Like, to drill this here and get this thing set up, you know, we'll blow a couple hundred in glow plugs, and I've blown $100 in drills where I could have blown $50. Or Trade Tools actually had the right one, so for $20. So anyway, there you go. So if you need drills for a 1 or 2 of time jobs that, you know, you're not a big engineering shop, I've always rated Trade Tools drills, especially the little kits. So there, see how you go. So anyway, that's got to be it. I got to Thursday this week, I've got to take Mum to the airport to Harvey Bay. My sister isn't travelling real well with cancer, so Mum's going to bolt down there. So we'll probably have to have a week off shortly to get down there. But yeah, that's it. That's the stew for the week. So look, I've waffled on enough for this week. It's probably a bloody long stew. It may even have to be two parts, I'll see. And yeah, we'll see how we go. I think the rep's coming this week for a yarn with the CRC deal. We'll see how that goes. Yeah, have a good week, everyone. Thanks for dropping by. This week in the afternoons, instead of working on me 65, I'll be doing carbies. There's another couple on their way, so I've got 3 up the spout now to do. So see how we go. They're after work jobs, so I usually do them as just extra activity. So yeah. All right, I'll shut up. Thanks for dropping by. Stay well, everyone, and yeah, look, we'll catch you all next week.